Hi, in this devlog I'm going to be making a whole bunch of new moves for my turn-based strategy game. So moves are either unlocked by beating a level or by purchasing them from the shop. Obviously, since you're going out of your way to buy a move, it's going to be a bit more powerful and interesting compared to the rest. But first, let's get the boring moves out of the way. These moves are more for enhancing your damage capabilities, so you wouldn't want to build a deck full of these. There's stuff like Shattering Strike and Chaining Strike, which just deals a small amount of damage and applies a status effect on the target. And there's also stuff like Healing Strike, which is a bit more interesting since it actually heals your target enemy in exchange for giving you some heavy healing. That's a basic overview of what the basic moves do, but there's still more parts I haven't talked about. And that's dynamic stats. You know that in my game, rolling a high number on your dice means you can use more moves that turn, but this would make these moves very overpowered if you could just spam and apply status effects to all of the enemies. So I made it so that these moves get weaker when the dice roll is higher. You can still apply status effects onto a lot of enemies if you get a good roll, but these moves will deal much less damage. Now that some values of the moves are affected by the dice roll, this means the descriptions will be inaccurate. To fix this, I made a description generator script that takes in the description and allows it to be made dynamic. So these damage values will always be accurate and even take into account any status effects you have. Here you can see it work. Before applying Strengthen, this is my damage, and after I apply Strengthen, it changes to this. But just changing the damage values isn't going to stop people from spamming the move when they get the chance to, so I made an energy system. It's pretty simple. Using a move costs some amount of energy, but your energy only regenerates after every turn. With that system in mind, I changed these moves, making it so that it costs much more to use in addition to dealing less damage when the dice roll is high. Now for the actual fun moves. These moves are either completely unique or are pretty powerful. And these are what you should be using in order to win a level. Some of the more simple moves would be stuff like Smite, which just deals a whole lot of damage to one enemy, but the damage and energy cost of the move actually scales of how much energy you have, so if you have a whole lot of energy, you can unleash a single devastating blow. There's also moves like Black Magic, which focuses on applying a hefty percentage damage over time effect, but it will actually increase the enemy's damage output drastically if you're not careful. That's not all. A few of the moves like Frost Beam and Splinter Shot actually have different targeting methods compared to their others. And that's because they can be blocked by enemies in front of them. My reasoning for this is that it makes sense looking at the animation, and also it makes you consider the enemy's position more carefully. There's also some more unique moves such as Tempest Tornado and Meteor Strike. Tempest Tornado creates a huge tornado that drags nearby enemies closer to the target, which could definitely affect the blockable moves that I just mentioned. Then there's Meteor Strike, which rains down a whole bunch of explosions in the line, so the position of the enemies is absolutely crucial to maximizing its effectiveness. There are a whole bunch of other moves in my game that I've already made, but you have to stick around the channel to find out what they are. With all these new moves, it'll be nearly impossible to decide what to bring before starting a level, so I completely removed the ability to choose moves before starting a level, and instead you'll be able to choose your moves during a level, allowing you to change your moveset based on the situation you're in. It was pretty easy to set up move switching. All I needed to do was create a small UI panel that holds all the objects, then create a scroll bar as well as some button templates for both the move filters and the selection buttons, and using a script I can spawn them in. I also made it so that after every wave of a level, you can reselect up to one attack and one support move every time, so the game is now really flexible and allows you to play around with many more moves within the same level. That's the end of the video. If you enjoyed, you can subscribe and watch more devlogs about this indie game. Bye.